Yes, Dak has to prove that he can live up to that statement. Lights out dynamic. I want to see some of that. This is the final tune-up before the games become real and you get into the one-and-done tournament. And so I want to see the Cowboys offense play to the level that we saw them play early in the year. Remember, early in the year, Dak Prescott was squarely in the MVP conversation because they got out to a fast start. The offense was electric. They were leading the league in points. They were leading the league in yards. They were throwing the ball all over the yard. And number 4 was the trigger man. Since he's returned from that injury, we haven't consistently seen that same version of the Cowboys. And even though some will say, hey, this is a meaningless game, it doesn't really matter, it does matter in terms of building the rhythm, the confidence, and the continuity going into the postseason. So, yeah, I want to see Dak play lights-out football against the Philadelphia Eagles this week because that momentum could be the difference of whether they start fast in the postseason or not.
No, there's nothing for Dak to prove this weekend. This game doesn't even really matter. Now, if Dak goes out and plays terrible, that's one thing. But if they go out and they win the game, or if it's a competitive game and say they lose in the end, it's not going to change my opinion of Dak Prescott or the Cowboys. Like you said, Bucky, this is the last tune-up game before the postseason. So just go out and give a convincing, steady, consistent performance. You don't have to prove anything in this particular game to me. We're looking at the entirety of your body of work over the whole season at this point as we're going into the postseason. He's at a career high in touchdown passes this season, 5th highest in completion percentage. He is right. When they are playing at the highest of their capability, they are lights out and dynamic. But I don't need to see that from the Cowboys this weekend. What I want to see from the Cowboys this weekend is 2 things. I want to see that defense be disruptive again, and I want to see the run game be effective. We know the Philadelphia Eagles can run the ball. Can the Dallas Cowboys run the ball against a division rival? We know that the Dallas Cowboys offense works when they run the ball successfully. So that is the biggest thing I'm looking forward to seeing in this game. Dak doesn't need to prove anything. Dak doesn't need to go out and be spectacular. For what? I just want Dak to get out of this game healthy and have a nice, consistent performance without any mistakes. That's what I'm looking for Dak Prescott this weekend.
Joy, Bucky, I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a subscriber to the What Have You Done Lately for Me newsletter. And that is why, yes, Dak Prescott very much has something to prove. And I'm not even looking for as much as Bucky is in terms of the dynamic of the collective offense. This is going to be a great opportunity for Dak Prescott to prove that he can win without a running attack because the Eagles' defense, particularly of late, has been stout against the run, not so much against the pass. And when I look at the body of work this season, Joy Taylor, I see a guy who hasn't beaten a good team, much less a playoff team, since week 6 against the New England Patriots. And this is an Eagles team that Dak Prescott had what has proved to be one of his best games, 21 of 26. Yeah, it was a little dinking and dunking, only 238 yards, but he got it to 8 different receivers, and he threw 3 touchdowns without an interception. Now, at the time, we were thinking this is Dak Prescott coming back from a major injury, and it's only going to get better. It's good. He's an MVP candidate. It's only going to get better. We didn't think at the time that this was going to end up being one of his best performances. And if the Cowboys are going to go where the Cowboys expect to go, then Dak Prescott is going to have to at least get back to that version of Dak Prescott. And he very well may have to do it without what he had at the time, which was also a potent running game. I remember at the time, Dak was an MVP candidate and Ezekiel Elliott was back. 95 yards on 17 carries, a couple of touchdowns. Tony Pollard was running the ball like everything was clicking. But we thought it was here and it was only going to move up. Well, the run game is not there, and I do not expect it to be there on Saturday. And that means that Dak Prescott is going to have to be the Dak Prescott that is getting paid. What is that, Joy? What does I always say? Oh, that's right. $75 million this year. Time to make good on that contract, Dak Prescott, and beat these Eagles, even if the actual result and meaning of the game is meaningless.
It's not meaningless. It does mean something because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so the habits that they put on the field on Saturday, they will continue to stay with this team as they go into the postseason. Because remember, a week ago against the Cardinals, they didn't play great. If they come out and put on a stinker performance against the Eagles, that's 2 weeks in a row. How can you have confidence going into the postseason thinking that, oh, we're just going to flip the switch, we're going to be good, we're going to be lights out and dynamic when we hadn't put it together on the field? No, I think this is a big game and a big performance for Dak Prescott. He has to play well. We haven't seen that vintage, that classic, that high-flying, that five-star general Dak Prescott in a long time. Yes, we saw a glimpse of it against the Washington football team a few weeks ago, but, man, we need to see it consistently. So Dak Prescott needs a big performance against the Eagles to have that confidence, to have everyone feeling good going into the postseason. I am a believer in momentum. Momentum matters in the postseason. It's the hot team. We see it in all sports, basketball, baseball, and football. The hot team gets going. I need to see Dak Prescott and this offense get hot, regardless of whether they run the football or not. Number 4, got my eyes on number 4. You need to play.
For all the intangible reasons, yes, you want to go into the postseason with some momentum. For all of the on-the-field adjustment reasons, as I mentioned about the running game earlier, the defense going in feeling good. You want to go into the postseason feeling good. But at the end of the day, we can keep it a buck about this game. Both of these teams are in the postseason. So the number one thing that they want going out of this game is that everyone is healthy. You don't need some all-time spectacular performance from anyone on the field this weekend. It should not change how you feel about any one particular player and their season or who they are as a player based off of this, in reality, meaningless game. The most important thing is to get into the tournament, and both of these teams are in the playoffs. Number one, get everybody out healthy. That's what you want going into the postseason. We can talk about momentum. We can talk about adjustments. We can talk about feeling good. The number one thing you want to be feeling good about is your body. So everyone needs to be healthy. That's the most important thing. Nothing that happens in this game is going to change some seeding, but it's not going to change. It's not a play-in game like it is for the Chargers or Raiders, Rams or 49ers. There's nothing on the line in this game. Some seeding, but that's it. They're both in the playoffs. So what you want is to have a good, solid performance. If the Eagles lose, okay, get everyone out healthy. Make sure that we're feeling good about how we are going into the postseason. If the Cowboys lose, it's not going to change how I feel about the Cowboys. Run the ball well. Dak, get rid of all the mistakes. Defense, have a takeaway, some big plays, so you feel good about everything. But it's really just a feel-good game for both of these teams. We can be honest about that. The momentum is important, but it's not changing anything dramatically for either of these teams if they win or lose. For the Cowboys, it's actually more pressure, because what you don't want to deal with is having all of us talking about, are the Cowboys struggling as they're headed into the postseason? Is Dak going to be able to carry the team with the struggles that he had against the Eagles? Because it's the Dallas Cowboys and they're America's team. The Eagles are not going to be dealing with that. So for that reason, sure, go out and have a great performance. But I don't need that. It's not going to change how I feel about Dak. It's not going to change how I feel about the Cowboys. Nor is it going to change how I feel about the Eagles, because this game is not changing anything for their postseason hopes.
Joy, here's the tell that Mike McCarthy is thinking the exact same way I am, and Bucky, is that why not sit Dak Prescott for this game? If it's all about health, if it's all about we just need to be healthy going into the postseason, there's really no reason to play Dak Prescott. There's no reason to play Ezekiel. There's no reason to play anybody of significance going forward, because the actual winning or losing of the game technically does not matter. It's not going to change where they stand. And that's why they are playing them, because there is more at stake than just winning or losing the game. It is finding a rhythm for Dak Prescott. It is demonstrating clearly that can Dak Prescott win you a game when the running game is not there? And I do not expect that the running game is going to be there in this game. And outside of Michael Gallup, he has his full complement of wide receivers. I see no excuses. And I'm not looking for Dak Prescott to have some unbelievable performance. I'm not looking for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I would take the performance that we got the last time he played the Eagles, with hitting 8 different receivers and a modest 238 yards and just an efficient day, not turning the ball over. So I'm not asking for a whole lot, but I believe that Michael McCarthy and the Cowboys are looking at where the Cowboys are right now in general, and Dak Prescott is in particular, and they're thinking, we need a game to get him going. We need him to feel good about himself. We need to feel good about him. We need to have a performance that says Dak Prescott is now ready to go for the postseason. Because based on what I saw last week, and everybody else saw last week, including Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott is not ready to beat playoff caliber teams. And I'll go back to it. Look at who they've played. They haven't beaten a playoff caliber team, much less a team with a winning record, since they played New England. And that was when New England was still trying to get out of the blocks and was not the Patriots that we've seen now. So they, in a lot of ways, need a signature win that makes them feel like they're up to the task of the postseason. And Dak Prescott needs that as much as anybody.
Yeah, no, he certainly needs it. They need to continue to play because remember, right now they're locked in to play the Arizona Cardinals. Do they really want to run that game back based on the result that we saw last week? I don't know. And so maybe we talk about matchups and styles making fights. Maybe there's something bigger to play for in terms of maybe we want to avoid the Cardinals in this round, and maybe it's better for us to play another team, be it the Saints or whoever may get in at the 6th or 7th seed. Maybe it's running it back so you get to 3 and then you get a chance to maybe play the Eagles again. This is a situation where you're the Cowboys. You get to control your destiny a little bit, win the game, play well, put up some numbers, have a ton of confidence going into the practice week, and then get ready to run the table to see yourself as a championship team. I think this is very, very important. I know we want to talk about health. Health is certainly the number one priority, but the way that you play going into the tournament, it certainly impacts the confidence level that you have when you play that first playoff game.
Yeah, I wasn't speaking in absolutes that Dak and, the other stars shouldn't be playing because they're already in the playoffs. But health is the most important. If you go into the playoffs without Dak Prescott, we don't really need to talk about the Cowboys in the playoffs anymore. So, yes, health is the number one thing, no matter what you say about going into the playoffs. Number two is, I would agree with you, the momentum. But that wasn't the question. Wins are obviously better than losses. The question was, does Dak have anything to prove this weekend? And no, Dak doesn't have anything to prove this weekend, because if they go out and run for 150 yards and beat the Eagles by 7, and Dak has a middle-of-the-road game and doesn't make any mistakes, what did he prove? Did he prove that he's Dak Prescott? Did he prove that he can carry a team? He wouldn't prove anything. He doesn't need to go out and have a virtuoso performance against the Eagles this weekend to change what the Dallas Cowboys' future in the playoffs is going to be, to me. What they need to do is run the ball and get out of the game healthy.